Hey everyone, Raider here. Hope you're all doing great and having a fantastic day. Well, it's almost time for the next Samsung Unpacked event. The next event's going to be held on July 26, 4 a.m. Pacific, 7 a.m. Eastern, and we have a whole bunch of new devices. We're going to get a replacement for the Fold 4. We're going to have the Fold 5 headed our way, as well as the Flip 5. In addition to that, we're going to get the new Galaxy tablets, so the Tab S9, Tab S9 Plus, and the S9 Ultra. We're going to get the Watch 6 and the Watch 6 Classic. That's right, we're getting a return of the rotating bezel, and I'm seeing reports that we might see the Galaxy Buds 3. So it's going to be a busy day on July 26th. And before we get started, I do want to mention that you can go onto Samsung's site right now and you can put in a pre-registration to get a $50 credit at the time of order. There's no obligations. You just give them your first and last name, drop your email address, use the same email that you're going to use at the time of order if you do end up ordering. And if you don't end up ordering, no harm, no foul, doesn't matter. But it's a good way to get a case or maybe, a charging brick since we don't get one in the box. I'll go ahead and drop a link down in the description so you can sign up for that, at least here in the US. But today's video, we're going to focus on the Fold 5. So in front of me, I've got the Fold 4, which for all intents and purposes is pretty much the same as a Fold 5 in regards to the cosmetics. And the reason I say that is because we're looking at the same 7.6-inch inner screen and 6.2-inch outer screen. Now, one thing to keep in mind though is they may make the bezels even a little bit smaller. I'm not sure how they're going to pull that off, but I've been seeing talks about that, so we might get a little bit more screen real estate, but I wouldn't hold my breath on it. I'm going to go ahead and throw up a couple spec sheets, and we're going to rifle through them real quick of what we can expect. So we're looking at the same price tag as last year, $17.99. As I mentioned, the 7.6-inch main screen, 6.2-inch outer screen. And as far as weight goes, it's going to be 10 grams less than the Fold 4. This is already pretty light, so the fact they're making it 10 grams lighter, that is definitely an improvement. We'll take it. The next spec is a big one. The Fold 5 is going to feature the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, which is the same processor that we have in the S23 Ultra. And I'll tell you what, there are not too many people complaining about the performance or the thermals or the battery life on the S23 Ultra. This has been a great device. So now the Fold 5, as far as the SoC goes, is going to be the same as this device here. Also new, and definitely a big improvement, is going to be a new hinge design. We're looking at a water drop style hinge, but unfortunately, I can't show you any leaked photos because Samsung is actively looking at YouTube videos, anything that has Z Fold 5 in the title, and they are looking for unlawful use of leaked photos of the new hinge design, and they are requesting that YouTube put a strike against the content creator if they show that. So on your screen now, you see the Oppo Find N2, which has a similar hinge design as what we're going to see on the upcoming Z Fold 5. Another possible new feature for the Fold 5, but not 100% confirmed, is we may have a dust rating on the IPX rating, which means we'll have a IP something 8. Hopefully that comes true because we have yet to have that on a foldable device. That would definitely be a welcome improvement. We're looking at 12 gigs of RAM on the 256 and 512 gigabyte options, and I'm seeing conflicting reports if it's going to stay 12 gigs for all the storage options or if the 1 terabyte will have the 16 gigabyte option. As mentioned, the storage options are 256, 512, 1 terabyte. The cameras, now this is where we might see a little bit of a disappointment. So I'm seeing two different rumors. One is that we're going to have the same camera setup as on the Fold 4 with an improved 50 megapixel sensor. The other rumors I'm seeing is that we're going to get a 108 megapixel camera, which is similar to what we had on the S22 Ultra. Either way, neither one of those are very noteworthy, so unfortunately we're not going to see much improvement in the camera department on the Z Fold 5. Battery's going to remain the same. We're looking at 4400 mAh, but again, keep in mind that we're working with a much improved SoC, and I get great battery life on the S23 Ultra, so I do suspect to have the same on the Z Fold 5. We have a bunch of colors to choose from this year. We're looking at blue, platinum, beige, black, and light blue, which Samsung is calling Arctic blue. And there's no mention yet whether or not we're going to see the S Pen siloed. I suspect we won't because we would have seen plenty of leaked images and there would have been a lot of reports talking about it by now if that was the case. So for the second half of this video, I want to talk about whether or not you should upgrade to the Z Fold 5. Because we're living in tough economic times. Inflation's really high right now. People are struggling. It's not necessarily the best time to buy a new device for folks. So let's talk about if this is right for you. If you have the S23 Ultra, I'm going to have to say it's a hard pass. I mean, they're tit for tat as far as the SoC is going to be on the Fold 5 versus the S23 Ultra, and you're going to have a much better camera array on the S23 Ultra. I would consider it a downgrade, and I would hold on to your S23 Ultra until maybe the S24 comes out, or if you're looking to get into the foldable scene, I would probably wait till the Fold 6 if you're actually looking for a performance upgrade. However, if you have the S22 line of devices, like an S22 Ultra, I definitely would consider it. The S22 Ultra does not have great battery life, like a lot of people jump ship from that to get onto the S23 Ultra, and you're looking at probably the same camera setup that's going to be touted on the Fold 5, because there are a lot of leaks saying that it's going to get that 108 megapixel camera. So in regards to that, it's going to be equal to the S22 Ultra. So you're going to get much improved battery life, a much better SoC, and just overall better performance if you do upgrade your S22 line of device up to the Fold 5. So I could give that one a recommendation. So if you have the Fold 4, well, you're basically buying the same phone twice. Well, you know, for all intents and purposes, let's keep it real here. So the Fold 4 going to the S23 Ultra right here is going to be the same as going from the Fold 4 to the Fold 5. In my humble opinion, the performance difference between the Fold 4 and the S23 Ultra compared to us bumping up from the Fold 3, which I no longer have, to the Fold 4 isn't that much. Going from the Fold 3 to the Fold 4 is a pretty monumental upgrade. The Fold 3 battery life sucked. It was terrible. We had pretty bad thermals on it too. It ran pretty hot, and folks that went up to the Fold 4 immediately noticed an improvement. However, in daily driving the Fold 4 since release, and then starting to daily drive the S23 Ultra since its release, yeah, the S23 Ultra is a little bit faster, but it's not mind-boggling or anything. You know, it's a nice performance bump, a little bump in battery life, but nothing groundbreaking, nothing earth-shattering, not like going from the Fold 3 to the Fold 4. So my take on it is if you have the Fold 4 and you're happy with it, I'd probably just stick with your Fold 4. Because remember, you might get a great trade-in value because Samsung's really pushing these foldables, right? You might even get $1,000 just like we saw last year. That's still $900 plus out of your pocket, right? After taxes. $900 for a new hinge design, a little bit better battery life, a little bit better SoC, and we may or may not see any improvements to the camera other than a slightly upgraded 50 megapixel sensor and possibly an update to the UDC camera to 16 megapixels. I doubt it though. I think it's going to stay 4. You know, in this situation having the Fold 4, I really think you ought to just keep it and wait for the 6. You know, seriously, you're not going to see that huge upgrade. It's just the hinge. You know, if the hinge does bother you, then maybe consider it. For me, I don't mind it. You know, when you have it open, it's fine. So if you don't have any problems with your hinge and you're happy with your Fold 4, honestly, I just stick with it. Now, on the other hand, if you have the Fold 3 and you're wanting to upgrade to the Fold 5, by all means, I would definitely go for it. Without a doubt, without hesitation. You're going to see a pretty monumental upgrade. You're going to have a little bit wider front screen, right? So we have a little bit different aspect ratio on the main screen. We have a much improved battery life, much improved thermals, much improved processing power. You also have the variable refresh rate that now goes down from 1 to 120 hertz instead of the 60 to 120. There's just going to be a lot of improvements going from the 3 to the 5 because I can know that for sure because there was a lot going from the Fold 3 to the Fold 4. So I think for you Fold 3 users, you got to ask yourself, how much longer is my hinge going to hold up? You know, you've had the device for 2 years now. Samsung touts something like 100,000 folds, maybe a little bit more than that. But there are plenty of reports on Reddit of people having problems. How much longer do you want a chance holding on to that hinge? Because now you're past the 2-year mark. You're getting close to running out of OS updates. Not yet. You got a little while longer. But you know, you're getting closer to the end of the line instead of being towards the beginning of it. And you're going to have to worry about whether or not that Fold 3 hinge is going to hold up for you for another year. Here's another thing to keep in mind when you guys are doing trade-ins and considering upgrading. When Samsung offers these trade-in values, they're going to give you the most value for the previous 2 generations of devices. So when you go to trade in for the Fold 5, you're going to see the most resale value, or trade-in value, I should say, for the Fold 4 and the Fold 3. You'll see the highest trade-in value for the S23 Ultra and the S22 Ultra. It's going to go 2 generations back. Once you go past 2 generations, it really steps off quickly. So my point I'm trying to make here is if you decide to hold on to the Fold 3 for yet another year and upgrade to the 6, you are very likely going to get a very low trade-in value for that Fold 3, whereas you're going to get a much higher trade-in value for it this year since it's within 2 generations. All right, so those are my recommendations for the upgrade path on the Fold 5. We're going to be covering the other devices and a lot more coming up when we get closer to the Unpacked event on July 26th, again 4 a.m. Pacific, 7 a.m. Eastern. I'm not even sure what devices I'm going to get yet. Pretty sure I'll get the Fold 5. I'm thinking about getting the regular Tab S9 because we're supposed to have an OLED panel on that this year. Debating on the Watch 6 Classic. We'll see. All right, well, let me know down in the comments, which devices are you guys most interested in? Which ones would you like to see covered? Which ones do you want to see me get? Personally, I really don't have too big a preference because I'm already in loving this S23 Ultra. Like, if these new devices don't meet my needs, I'm good already. So whatever devices you guys want to see, let me know down in the comments section. I always do appreciate your time, and as always, thanks for watching.